Bruce, do you all, Dennis here, you got any kind of an update? Well, Brad, have you heard anything from James?
No.
Whatever, if he's gonna call in, you can be here. No. Okay.
How
James
far
gonna
from
call
home will you be?
No, I don't know. I thought he was
Okay.
coming.
Call me or shoot me.
Well, if we need you, we might.
Okay.
All right. Let you know.
I haven't heard from him.
Anything new, Bruce?
We're waiting on some plans from KDOT Library, but as of right now, there's probably 7 or 8 bridges that we're gonna take a hard look at. Won't support them big loads. We'll have that for you hopefully next meeting where you guys can work with the wind people and figure out what you want to do or how you want to handle it. But we'll have the answers for you.
You'll have the load ratings and stuff
Yes,
then?
we've got 8 of them done that we know are gonna have to have some kind of help.
8 of them, you say?
Yes. That's the bigger bridges. We haven't looked at any of the box culverts or, this is all big bridges. It's on your designated routes. There's no sense in us going up there looking at roads if we're gonna have a different route coming out.
Yeah.
So that whole
So
route,
we've done those to know what shape they're in.
the whole route has not been specifically designated yet, quite yet.
Right.
Yeah.
But what was given to us to look at, right now, we're the bridges, we're gonna have to have some help. But we need those KDOT plans because the other 2's concrete bridges and you can't look through the concrete to see how tight the bridge are. And that's how you determine the structure. I mean, you gotta have your slump test on the concrete and everything to know what strength is put in it.
Just because it's a state bridge, they didn't do them all the same.
These girls worked pretty hard over here and they just didn't have.
No, what I mean is though, every state bridge could have a different weight load on it. Or are they all
You'll run
pretty well
into
the
that
same?
once in a while when you start bouncing around with, we see it a lot when counties go out for the least cost on a bridge job instead of staying with one firm. You'll see them hopping here and there. Well, then everybody has a different standard. Nobody, I guess you'd say, it's all on the same page. You get a county, we can pretty well tell you some of the counties that we've been in forever about what their bridges are going to load rate, because
Some of them do it right, some of them cheaper than others a little bit. And you don't know that until you get those
instead of
steps.
get into them, right?
Either way, it must be documented.
Yep.
And that document's the one that's easier said than done binding.
Oh, we'll find it.
Yeah, it's there somewhere.
Yeah, KDOT says it's a KDOT deal, they'll find it. The trouble is, when you send a request in down there, it takes you 2 to 3 weeks to get anything back out on there. That's just what it takes.
So there's 8 plus 2, or total 8?
Total of 8 right now.
Counting those 2 that
No,
are,
them 2, we haven't anybody.
okay.
So that's what we got.
Mark, are you involved in that process?
Yeah, I just want to make sure Chris and Corey are communicating with you, Brad, if you need anything from them to make sure.
Corey calls me twice a week.
Yeah, I figured
So
you
we-
did.
yeah. We're still staying with the proposed route as of now until we get the finals on that. And then, like I say, the commissioners and you guys can sit down and look at it,
Yeah.
see what you want to do. I don't know if, for sure, you know.
I want to make sure that we're coordinating because there's a transmission line haul route and the wind farm haul route.
Right.
Kind of meld together, and I just want to make sure we're covering both.
Yeah.
Chris is covering one and Corey's covering the other one.
I don't
So,
talk to Chris. I'll talk to
yeah,
Corey.
so Corey will, they work really close together, so.
Right.
we'll
And
make
I
sure
haven't
that
heard
we're
any rural water district there.
You haven't, I was just gonna ask about that. I had
Is what now?
Dan Dollinghouse, who's on the Rural Water District number 2 or something, and they just had some questions about their lines, future transmission lines or whatever. So I sent them to Bruce. And they might ultimately be, with those water lines would have surely they have a permanent easement for those, don't they? Do you know,
Trouble with
Brad?
the rural
or-
water line is, they do not state the easement. They take the path of least resistance.
Oh, yeah, they head out across the 80.
Yeah.
However they can get there from point A to point B is how
Very
they
few
go.
rural water districts has ever put a water line in with a meets and bounds or a staking deal.
Yeah, and then they don't have real good records either, I don't think.
Oh, hell no.
Well, how do you write a meets and bounds if you're
Well, what you gotta do.
heading out across the 80?
Well, what you gotta do, that's part of your design plan going in. There's only two of them we've ever done. Ford County is very good about it, clear out of Dodge City. We've gone out there and staked in a lot of water line off of their coordinate data, and they know right where it's at up against those fields. But you take, the majority of your water districts around here, have, you'll go out to work on the dam, oh yeah, it's over here, we know where it's at. Yeah, then you're in for a big repair. We had one at the base of the dam we run into, 70 foot off the road. Instead of going through the ditch, they went over and trenched through the back of the dam, so they didn't go through that ditch.
So those can be identified, I'm sure. You can locate, they can tell where those
Yeah,
lines
to a point,
are.
they'll find them, yeah.
Your rural water lines are all plastic, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Pretty tough to locate.
Huh?
Sometimes tough to locate.
Right.
That's good to know that too. Tell you what, if you can pass along the rural water district's contact, we have a coordinator doing the crossings for pipelines. Probably need to have a discussion with the rural water district too, just to make sure we know, have an understanding what we do, when we do. If something happens, who we make a phone call to.
Paul Strothman chairs that, I think, or something, you know.
That's District 3.
Then,
Okay.
as
Is
you
it?
get
Okay.
into Pot County, Bob Mars will be the one probably down that way. I'm not sure where that breaks off.
Is there a
South
association or is there a rural water
It's rural
district?
water, Pot County. I don't know what, Pot County 1 or 2.
District is.
But it's Pot County and then you have Nemaha County rural water also?
And Pot County comes up into Nemaha.
I tell you where you can get
several
that map, go right up here to,
miles. The water district.
the state, deal, right here on 36.
Extension office?
No.
Well, the water office, you mean
Yeah,
there?
it's just rural water
Yes.
office is what I'm trying to
Okay,
think.
yeah,
Yes, right out here, west town, the north
They've
side.
got the map, they
They-
have.
'cause they take care of the whole
any
state.
Maps to take in the
That's
whole
right.
state.
Well, that's convenient. I'll stop by.
Right.
All right.
That'd be
before you-
great if
right
you'd
before
make that
you get to the St.
contact.
Benedict Road there.
Right.
That's
Those
good.
guys are awful helpful.
That'd be great.
That's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't think about
Can't
that.
think of his
till-
name.
But that is the state office.
Okay.
That's the state office. They take care of,
Yeah, it's Kansas Rural Water Association.
plus I think Nemaha County runs out of that, don't they, rural water district? Nemaha County, don't they run out of that office too?
They're right beside each other there or something.
Something like
I'm not
that.
sure how that works. Because I've seen both of those places out there.
They'd have all the contact information though for those districts.
And we could share with them our drive entrance locations and they can say, listen, you're gonna have an impact on a water line or whatever else, or you know, exactly where everything's located. So good. We'll make a
That'd be great. You shoot James a text, or
I haven't.
I did.
You did, and you're back.
No, I haven't got anything.
there's some, this is a national holiday. Banks are probably not open today. Is that correct? There's no mail, is it?
That's correct.
Yeah. Well, we did talk about that with James about Monday, the 14th, and he said that they ignored that, so anyhow.
Probably cutting into your holiday system then, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, we don't need one to pay.
Hey, maybe think about it. Am I supposed to be working today or not? You know?
Yeah, right.
Bruce, are you guys working at all with that old electrical line that runs through there, old by Vissers and
No, it's Thanksgiving Day.
the one that goes,
Not yet.
down south. I hear they're replacing that whole, all the poles and everything in that whole line.
Right. No, that doesn't need, all that, well, it needs somebody to test the concrete, but that's minimal amount, because that right of way is already established through there. And those guys have got basically 100-foot of right of way, depends on how you look at it, whether it's 50 foot from the outside pole or 100 foot across.
Yeah.
So they don't need,
Well, I don't know.
and they put them in everywhere. I mean, all that grass we've got over there north of Esper's, they've been across all that. It's been pretty nice. They put in some nice roads and some gates finally.
I've kind of heard that they're going to a single pole, big single poles.
Would it be metal?
Yep.
Yeah. And,
Kind of like these ones out here west of town,
yeah.
where it goes south there and north.
Well, I've had a couple of guys that are signing up for things with them, and they was confused to whether it was this or something else, you know, whether it was your transmission line, but I think it was this line here is where they was located, and what we could find on the map is what we ended up saying that that's what it is, but.
The only time you ever get involved in something like that, we want to change the substation location, then you get involved in the surveying and building.
Okay.
Overall, no, they pretty well got their established right of ways already, and that's what they worked off of.
They put a line in next to the existing line before they ever change it over.
Same right away.
Yeah, it's interesting. I ain't figured out what they're trying to do. They moved that station from the north side of 9 to the east side of 62. They didn't move it only about a half mile, but I didn't quite, whether they got all new equipment and all new stuff, I didn't quite understand why they did that, but now I hear they're also putting another deal in there of some sort. But, which I hear is going on Frank's, which I can't imagine they'd even let them on the place after Jenny's deal, but I just figured, you know, but maybe they are, I don't know. There's something going on down there with that deal.
Is there somebody tap back to that water office? There'd be somebody in there during normal business hours.
Probably not on Columbus Day, though.
Elmer Roybal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's true.
Elmer Roybal is the executive director.
Has Jim Don got anything? Probably.
You guys have anything? You're here?
One question I guess I would ask is the proposed haul route available for public consumption?
No, not yet. They're still working on it, Don.
Okay, I didn't know if any landowners in that area would be interested in knowing.
Waiting on those specs from the state that are hard to get to. Still hope to have something a week from today,
Yeah.
Bruce. You can
We do.
hope to.
We can send the information up on the other 8 to you. I mean, we're gonna do one book deal, but if you want it earlier,
I'd say get it done.
all right.
That's what I'd say.
One question, or I guess a few more questions I might have is, I don't know, a while back, I know there's been talk about the various agreements that need to go into place. And I think the word is that some individuals asked if they could review those prior to being finalized because of some concerns about how the term sheet went into effect and some of the terminology in there. And I think the assurance was at that time that those agreements would be put forth prior to being finalized so that people had a chance to look at those and review those? Is that still the plan? And if so, when might that happen?
I don't remember that ever being the plan.
No.
Yeah, I think we specifically stated that we doubted those documents would be made public and that there'd be any sort of public comment session or anything about those documents before they were considered by the commission. Is your recollection any different?
That's exactly what, yeah. They're being reviewed by Mr. Neal, Brad, and they're still working on them, as far as we know.
I guess a couple other questions. A couple of weeks ago, we heard from Gary Stiff about the process on comprehensive planning and the positives that can come from that. And then last week, we heard from David Briner about the kind of the zoning process, how it can help the county develop in the best interest of the majority of the citizens, and how it can protect agriculture and the private property rights of landowners. So maybe a couple of questions in that regard. Always in a mode of trying to be proactive, could you describe your next steps in that process?
Well, my goal would be get a zoning attorney for a question and answer session and see what does it cost, what does that side entail, and then we need to make a decision, and after that, whether we're gonna go forward with the plan, because that's the first step, is get the comprehensive plan, but I'd like to hear from a zoning attorney, whoever that may be.
Are there any specific plans on that yet, and, you know, timing-wise and who that?
We had that lined up, and then his wife had cancer, and they're having issues yet with that, so I'm assuming we're gonna have to find somebody different.
I talked just Thursday, I'm on the Kansas Association of Counties statewide board. Craig Cox is president of that. He's a Riley County counselor. And I asked him about it. He said, well, and I don't remember his name, he said, but he says, well, the Riley County guy who everybody looks to has been involved in the process forever. No, not Frost. No, it's another guy. And he said he would get me his contact information, and I just haven't heard from him. But Craig said he would be a good guy to come and
Okay.
so I'm still waiting on that. I'm hopeful in the next few days I'll know something. See if we can get him up here. I feel like he would be good.
Yeah, if you want to give me his information, I'd be happy
Yeah.
to reach out.
Okay. Okay.
I got enough problems, I don't need to be in there.
Rich has problems?
No, opportunities, right?
Opportunities.
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
We had lots of this weekend.
So at this point, you don't anticipate that the public will have any time to review the final documents prior to them being approved?
That's correct.
You did mention at the last meeting that the moratorium would be extended. Do you have a date set for that extension?
I don't know if we'll do that today, but I anticipate that in the next 2 weeks.
What is the final date on that, Mary Kay? You know?
I think it's actually like somewhere toward the beginning of November,
Okay.
because we did it, I just looked back the other day, I think we did it at the beginning part of April.
Good.
I was thinking it was first week of November.
Maybe we did it in May. I just
We'll
looked,
have to-
I was thinking that when you guys say the end of October,
Okay.
that was just a little on the early side, so that'd be good to have it done by then.
Okay.
Certainly anticipate extending.
Because when you bring up the actual resolution, we didn't put a date in there. So you have to go back to the minutes and
Yeah,
look at
it
when
was
when
May.
that was approved. Was it May? If that sound comes out right then. I think it was May. I know I looked the other day.
May 15th.
15th is the actual
We
date,
should
Brad.
be able to find that here.
I mean, that's a Wednesday. Is that,
Maybe it's May 13th, I'm looking at the news story here.
Yes, May 13th.
May 13th?
Yep, there we go.
2019-4 is the moratorium
Okay.
resolution.
What do you have on, Bruce? Are you headed south right away, or, yeah, okay. You didn't hear anything from James or anything, yeah. You either, Brad?
I haven't.
so, Yeah.
Would you just be able to try to call him?
Well, you wanna try to get a hold of him?
You've already
Brad?
sent him a text,
I
right?
sent you a text, but.
Yeah, I can run down and call him.
Try and call him.
I can run down my office and try to call him out. Yeah, I could try to call him.
Okay. See if you, I mean, I suspect no news is,
And the only discussion there was last week was that engineers from NextAir would be getting together with Bruce and other engineers, just at least weekly, to discuss progress being made. That's the only, what I'm aware of that happened last week involving Mr. Neal.
And I think that's happening now, so we've got them all working together, it's just going to get the engineers to finalize and then for James to finalize his work.
Yeah, so I'll go call James.
see if you can find out anything. Oh, might, it's just
it's just between us and Brad.
a renew of, and they've already,
They signed.
yeah.
Hi, Sheriff.
Let's see, Mary Kay, would it be easier to give somebody a copy of our term sheet? Would it be easier for them to just come into our system, or can we just send it to them?
Probably be easier. I mean, it's on the website, they can see it there, but otherwise I can email it to them or something.
Okay. Well, the
That's
health
the
and
only way we
environment.
could see it themselves is through the website.
Yeah.
But we've left that posted out there.
Yeah, I know, no,
Both the version that shows all the changes, you know, and then just a clean copy too, are both out there.
Mixie have anything? Have you talked to
I have
her?
not, I can give her a quick call.
We went to, Gary, we had a pretty lengthy discussion on zoning with the group out of Troy,
James said
Health and Environment. They really feel like that they ought to be on the group.
Hey Patty, this is Mary Kay.
They ought to
Just
be
wondering
on
if
that.
they can-
Ought
Because,
to be represented.
well,
All right,
because
I'll
see,
tell 'em. Thank you.
like, well, Bunty County has that much just on waste. Well, here, all we'd have to say is we have Northeast Kansas Environment. That'll take care of
I see,
follow their ruling.
I see.
But it needs to be, we need to be, keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm,
Uh,
sure.
But But I think Dennis Foster would probably be interested in maybe being on that, even though he's retired, he'd be a
a good one.
He'd be a good one.
Been trying to retire now for going on 15 years, I think, hasn't he?
well,
But he would be good.
James said he thought we were meeting tomorrow, but he has nothing to discuss with us today.
Okay.
So, if something comes up between now and Monday, he'll call in or come up next Monday.
Okay.
He plans to be here next Monday.
I think so.
Okay. Did you tell Bruce that?
I did.
You did?
I did
Okay,
tell him,
so he
yeah.
knows.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
We got the update from Brad. James
Yeah.
will be here, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
Or Jim. Yeah, James will be here Monday, I think, not today.
Bridge report Monday good enough, if we get it done, we want it earlier. Or give it to Dennis, or what do you want to do, or just wait?
Say, just bring it.
Probably good.
Monday?
Yeah.
Monday good enough?
Yeah, I think so, Bruce.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
All right, see you guys later.
All right, Brad, thanks. So, you'll make connection with Mark on that water office deal. You'll get those, whoever's involved in that.
Okay. Nobody's called me, so I'll wait. for-
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thanks.
I just had concern, I don't know why we would not promote a comprehensive plan within the county. We've been talking about it for years and years. I tried to talk to the commissioners 24 years ago about it and couldn't get it done. The cities did it, and now it looks like the majority of the communities that are incorporated within this county are moving that direction in a big way. So why wouldn't the county, what's the expense just to have a comprehensive plan? It doesn't mean we have to zone, but it gives the entire community of the county the availability to speak out. It seems like your group doesn't want to hear the voice of all the people, and I don't know, it just seems like you subdue
I'm not
those that,
following you. You're trying to say that our group, what do you mean by our group?
I mean you three,
You mean us three,
right.
that we don't want to what?
Well, it appears that you subdue moving forward to get information from the total community.
For what purpose? I guess I'm not following you at all on this.
Well, there's a lot of
I've
folks,
sent emails saying that our next plan is probably gonna be, number one, we'll either get an attorney in
right?
to have a conversation, but we're probably gonna move forward with the comprehensive plan to get it in line, because that has to be done before we can do anything else.
So where have you said that we wouldn't go forward with a comprehensive plan?
But
Well, I'm
we
not.
don't
saying-
wanna just jump into thing and do it,
Right.
because I'll tell you what, every time we do something, then your group says, well, you did this too quick, you shouldn't have done that, you shouldn't have done this. So we try and cover all our bases,
Yep.
make sure everything is square,
Yep.
so we can be proactive, you know,
Right?
and so that's the way we gotta do it, you know,
No,
but.
I understand that.
But,
and
no, I think we're planning on moving forward. It's just the idea of, you know, I've got 3 people that are looking for me to help us find somebody that'll do a comprehensive plan.
Okay.
You know, and I've had several suggestions from your group. But, you know, we're trying to figure out what,
Yep.
because the range all the way from $10,000 to
60,
70,
70.
you know, but a county comprehensive plan is a little more in depth than a city.
Right.
But it encompasses the cities.
Right.
But it's gonna happen, James. I guess I'm not sure
Okay, well, I'll
exactly.
tell you
That
why-
comment didn't sound very good to me. We're moving forward, but we meet once a week and we can't talk to each other during the week.
I know.
You guys can talk every day. And you can figure out your plan real simple. We
It's hard to
can't.
do with
We
500,
can't.
600
We got,
people.
one time we meet during the week, and when we get that chance, we try to talk about it, but we will go forward, in my opinion, with a comprehensive plan.
Good.
Then you look at it, do we need zoning?
Great.
I think that goes hand in hand naturally.
Well, you can't get the feeling of anybody until you get a comprehensive plan.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
You know,
probably true.
and again, you know, sure, we could hurry it through, but like this last week, I had another group that said, we need to be on that committee. Well, you know, if we'd have done it 2 weeks ago, they'd have been eliminated, unless they come in late. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, we got to have things, and that's what we've tried to do all along, try and get all our bases covered. You know,
I guess my
because-
goal would be hopefully by the first of the year, we could be starting that process. It's gonna take a couple of months to get somebody probably on. Well, Gary said that they wouldn't be available till January.
That's wonderful, and I'm glad I brought it up because it brings you guys out to speak. And I'm not trying to insult you in any way. The thing that has me personally, and I'm not talking about this group, any group, I'm talking about me, a person that isn't too fond of wind turbines, not close to my property, so that's me. But when I hear hundreds of people, a couple hundred people talk in front of you and your special attorney, and he turns around on the day of announcing the term sheet and debunks everything that everybody said that day. You guys left the room, you were here. I left that room because I was so insulted by his comments that everything we said was not true. Well, he would.
In your opinion, they weren't
No,
true.
in his opinion, they
No,
were not
but
true.
in your opinion, they weren't true. That's why you were insulted. You didn't look at the other side of the fence, did you?
I looked at all of the sides of the fence.
No, because if you were insulted, you didn't. You didn't take it all into, you were taking it personal.
Yeah.
And so when we're sitting here, if we take everything personal, we're gonna act just like you did. We'd be insulted.
But-
Is that not true? It's a
I
whole different game when you sit on
I
this
was not
side.
the only person that got up. Everybody,
Oh,
half the
that's
room
everybody's
left.
personal. How many people were there that were for it, probably?
A
that day.
handful,
Okay.
a handful. And they were
Did
mostly.
they need to be there?
They
Did
were-
you need to be
they
there?
were
I mean, it doesn't, if you,
I would needed to be there because I have my property and
There
my
you
life
go.
to take care of, and my children, and my community,
mhm.
and this county. I don't think
Sure.
about just me living out here.
And them 2 meetings we had, that's what you're basing everything off of. You didn't take all the phone calls we took, did you? You don't have a clue
Nobody
what
from,
all they
nobody
want.
buying turbines is calling me, if that's what you're talking about, and
What's
nobody
that?
calls me to sell me a turbine.
Run that by me again.
So who's calling me? Who's calling you?
I
to-
said us. I didn't say, see, if you listen to what I was saying, I
I
didn't
heard
mean
you.
anybody was calling you that was for them. They called us. And you didn't take none of that into account. It's all Nemaha County's against them in your eyes, evidently.
Against what?
Wind turbines,
Not all of them.
okay. That's
1,350
kinda what you're
of them that
alluding
you
to.
looked at and threw in the garbage can. 1,350 people that signed up
Right.
that we got.
How many Nemaha County registered voters are there?
7,000.
Or more?
Roughly.
And you had
Somewhere in there, out of
1,350.
10,000.
You had 1,350, is that a majority of Nemaha County?
It's more than 64 farmers.
That isn't the question I asked you, is that the majority of Nemaha County?
We did not have time to do that. A comprehensive
I've heard
plan
that
will
too.
tell you that
You
answer.
betcha.
Do that.
And I'm just
Maybe
gonna-
you should have had more then, instead of coming at us with a majority of 1,350.
I'm just gonna voice this, since you alluded to it, Jim, and I'm gonna cite the Wabunsee County case that got alluded to down there last week, the last 2 weeks. And I will also cite a recent letter in both papers about being proactive and/or reactive. I stand accountable for not doing something in 2001. I stand accountable. Now, that's all I'm gonna say. I can point the finger and say, where was everybody else in Nemaha County in 2001? I stand accountable.
What was 2001?
Well,
That's when we could have done.
done something just like Wabunsee County did.
Yeah.
They were proactive. I was not.
Yeah.
Gary, I hope you didn't take my comments about being proactive, reactive as any sort of a point at the commissioners. I actually wanted the, I wanted the
Get out of
public,
here.
Dennis, I wanted the public
Oh.
to be
Read your
involved.
letter. and tell me it isn't pointed at the commissioners.
It isn't.
I've had 20 people call me and they said, I want to tell you something, Dennis. Don't believe what you're reading in the paper. You know, you guys have done proactive things. You've got us at jail to keep us out of litigation with people. You've done the community building. You've done so many things for Nemaha County.
Dennis,
You've got us.
I wrote the letter. I can tell you from my heart, it was not directed at you. It was directed to the public. Because if I wanted it to be directed at you, I would have wrote the letters to you. But I went to the public because I want the public to be involved in the process. So it's not just a few people here or a few people there. I honestly, I can tell you that.
And I think most people who I'm hopeful, Dawn, that the majority of the people that read it are pointing the finger at themselves, just like I just did.
Well, I guess I kind of hope that people just take a more active role in deciding what they want. Whether you're for something or against something, just take an active role in it.
Yeah.
That's really all I wanted. I would apologize to you. I will apologize to you if you took it personally, because I did not direct it that way at all.
Well, and it probably.
Yes, I didn't read it that
Thank
way
you for that,
either.
Dawn. Put it that way. It's hard not
I
to
just-
put it that way. It's hard not to. I'm speaking for myself. It's hard not to.
Well, I'm glad you're allowing us to speak here, because I hate to speak in front of lawyers being in the room, and I know you pretty well, and I got confidence in your position, but I have felt that the law firm that has been, what we see of it, or I see of it, is in the hallway, and I'm talking about James Neal. He seems whimsical about it. He says windmills are good. They aren't going to hurt a person. They're good for the world. They're good for people, and that's his opinion. He's not going to have to live with them or live around them or have anything to do with what they may do or may not do with his personal property or health. And that's my point. His opinion seems to be driving what happens after hearings, and the 2 hearings that I attended and had some voice about.
Well, I will tell you one thing. We hired James Neal to negotiate.
That's right.
We did not hire him and he flat out told us, he says, if you're saying we want him out of here, we want him completely done and out, no questions asked, he said, I'm the wrong lawyer. He said, I'm here to negotiate the best deal for Nemaha County, and he got the best deal for Nemaha County and really for everybody in the United States.
Arguably a better deal than anybody in this nation has gotten.
But we have to go forward, and I'm going to tell you that if you're following Topeka, Annie, you guys better get down to Topeka, because that's where this thing's going to change. And it's going to change big time in the next 16 months, I think, on wind energy, because the powers from up above in Washington are pushing hard for wind energy, or for any energy, solar, wind, whatever, and they're putting the pressure on the states, and the state of Kansas is already talking about next year putting laws in place. And people need to be there, because that's where you change. And if, the other thing is if the people in the state of Kansas believe that they shouldn't elect 3 commissioners that have control, then they need to get down there and get the laws changed. That's where you change them, is down there. You don't change them here. We abide by the laws the state of Kansas comes out and puts up. We knew that, and granted, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but at the same time, I think our forefathers understood that, and that's why they elected congressmen and they elected a president. And rather than every time something come up, they had to have an opinion to decide whether or not it was good or bad. Somebody has to be in a position to make a decision, and that's where it is, and if it's not agreeable, then the court of law is right down the deal, and that's where it's got to be hammered out.
See, they tried to talk about that though, didn't they, with the House Bill 2273, and they kicked that out because the committee indicated that that's a decision that needs to be handled back in the county.
Yeah, now.
So that was,
So were you there, Jim, for that? I'm curious.
I wasn't, I just received
Okay, I
the
wasn't
notice
either.
of it, and
I emailed my representative and didn't get a response from him, but I posed that question. Why was that
turned around.
defeated 13-2 was the
Right.
actual vote of that committee? We anticipate that. I've been a member of that KAC board. We anticipate that that bill will be reintroduced in this next legislative session. Everybody around that table, 18 of us, about everybody said that bill will go nowhere again. Why? For the same reasons that we did what we did.
The lobbyists.
All the same reasons.
Yeah, I sent a memo to every committee member as well, and I noticed a lot of them were farmers, and I thought, well, this might have a chance. A lot of them were, not everybody was the same party, so I thought, well, there was a chance. But it was, and then I heard some dialogue through the newspapers or somewhere of people that came before them trying to fight for their residential properties and such. And then the other side are attorneys from Big Wind. It wasn't farmers that wanted wind, which I would like to have seen even at our local hearings. If the local individuals are that strongly for it, they need to all speak up as well. But
Publicly or privately?
publicly.
Yeah, in your opinion, that's the way it ought to be.
And when you read their contract, they're almost gagged to speak because they have that effects easement that really takes the liberty from them, and you end up, your dialogue has to be with the developer. The neighbor, if you and I were across the fence, we'd try to figure out a plan that we both could be happy with, you know, so I wouldn't affect your side and you wouldn't bother me too much. But they've taken that away from you or me. If we were signed on, I can't tell them not to put it next to the fence because I've signed an easement that says they can put it where they want to put it or think they should put it. So it's just that issue, liberty and justice, and every time we say the pledge, I think of the same thing. Are we really getting that? Not because of this group or this group, but because the government and the way the developers have been subsidized to put wind out there is hard to fight.
It all started in Washington, D.C.
Exactly.
And that's where, Dennis alluded to Topeka. That's where somebody needs to go. Now, everybody in this room knows what that would be like when they mandated that X percentage of wind energy or X percentage of wind be produced by wind energy.
Right.
Because nobody in this room had anything to do with that.
Yep.
And then Governor Bill Graves, when he took office, of course, in January of 1998, and exempted wind turbines for a lifetime. Not for 10 years, not for 15 years, for a lifetime. I mean, those wind developers were drooling all over the table. That word went out like, look what Graves did in Kansas. Is he crazy? They couldn't rent enough hotel rooms in this state.
Did they have an ulterior motive? You don't know what happened in that transition.
I don't know.
But the same thing's
don't
going
know.
on up in Nebraska right now with that mine they're building. You know, and did you see what the state of Nebraska is giving them $200 million
Is
in
that right?
incentives
For that?
to build that mine,
Yeah.
just less than 100 miles from here. They're
And
gonna
this is
build
for rare earth, is that the deal?
whatever that metal is.
I want to say molybdenum, but I don't think it's that. That's, they mine that in the Rockies. It's some rare earth metal.
Yep.
But that there, you know, I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna change the landscape up there tremendously. You know, I'm gonna tell you that I feel like it, but maybe not.
Could I
shift gears, just a different question, but it's somewhat related, and that's the main line that they're talking about, cross-country.
Green line, clean
Yeah.
line, or
Clean
whatever
line,
it is?
yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, do you guys have any idea what size of poles those are?
I have not really heard anything about
They're
that.
gonna be big ones.
Yeah.
Because I think I saw somewhere it's like 600 kilovolt that they're going to be carrying, and like the largest in the world is 753 kilovolt.
We haven't heard much on, I haven't heard anything on that outside of the fact that
I tried to.
Kansas give them a deadline that they want it done.
Yeah.
The KCC, you
Yeah.
saw, you guys saw that just, what, a couple, 3 weeks ago, said they're tired of you guys messing around, now get going.
See,
In
what I'm-
layman's terms.
I'm wondering for the county, and again, trying to be proactive here. Sorry, and again, not to
It's okay.
you, not directing to you
It's okay.
specifically, but trying to be proactive. See, my concern is if we have probably 300 some foot tall towers, perhaps, I don't know, I can't find anything on size, but that is what my guess is, something like that they're going to make this a corridor through Kansas, because when one line goes in, they'll put in, you see a lot of places where they do that. Once they go in with one, they go in with 2 and 3, and they're all running parallel. And so, because now that they got the easements, it's like, okay, now we can use that corridor. So is
That's
it,
probably where you need to be proactive with KCC.
yeah,
They're the ones in charge.
but I don't know, is there anything we can do locally?
Well,
I don't know, because I think, is eminent domain play a factor? in
I
this
think,
line?
I think they are carrying that stick.
See, they don't have it with the wind farm, per se. They can't come in and just say, okay, we're gonna go through eminent domain because we need to get across your place with their lines, or they can't do that. But with this, I'm not sure.
Well, it sounds like to me that document that he or she landowner signed at their kitchen table with, as an example, NextEra or Invenergy, not only allows wind turbines, but that overhead line. I don't know
Allows
that.
transmission
I don't know
lines.
that, but I
Well,
think it
that's a
does.
separate line. This is totally separate from anything.
Yes,
But I think what Gary said, as far as the lease agreement
That
itself
could be, I don't
allows
know.
for
Yeah.
transmission lines, and
I
it doesn't
think it
specify
does.
what they
That
are.
could be. I don't know.
And this, you're being recorded and taped. And Mr. Briner called me last week, and he said if he knowed that he was gonna be recorded and taped, he would not have come. He said, you know, they've put an end to that in Wabunsee County. He said they don't allow it unless somebody stands up and says, we're gonna do this. And he said, and then everybody, but he said he got 2 or 3 questioning him about, they take his comments and different reactions, and he was there just to prevent us.
Right.
And they take his thing and turn it 15 different ways, and he was not what I would call happy.
necessarily.
Yeah, he
Well,
called me
and
with,
that's probably where I failed as chair, that I should have indicated
well, just for
that to
future,
him.
just for
Yeah.
future. He said that
And I don't know that, I think
they can, he
you were
said
there.
that,
I don't think Greg was there last week, but I think you were there, weren't you, Diane? And that's fine, I mean, it's an open public meeting, but maybe, again, maybe I should.
well, it's an
have.
open public meeting and they can do that, but now he said down there, if someone is going to record it, they have to get up and say, this is going to be recorded and this is going to be done. And then he says that way I would decide whether I even want to give a presentation or not. And I agree with him.
We probably lacked in that
Yeah.
respect.
Yeah, I mean, we're used to it, but
Yeah, I
that
guess,
way,
I
the
just-
last year. And
Yeah.
and that's okay. That's why we're on the ballot, that's part of the deal.
Well, I had a commissioner, a former commissioner, tell me, you ain't got thick skin, what are you doing here?
Yeah, well, and he was, and I don't know, evidently it didn't go on YouTube
Yeah.
last week,
No.
No, it hasn't
but it went
been.
out to
For that very reason.
600 people.
No, no.
Well, evidently it went to quite a few of them because
No.
some of the guys he got a call from said they listened to the tape and,
Dennis, in all respect, there was a review of the tape, and the group was very, how do I want to say, responsible and public. They went to him right away and said, hey, this is what we have, and we wanted to put it out there, and he said no.
Yeah, I know,
That-
he told
that-
me, he said.
That he didn't know it was being taped.
Yeah,
And so there's just communication still occurring
yeah.
in
Okay.
there.
I've seen y'all.
Very
Come on
good.
up. Yeah.
Oh, you ready? Okay, we should go.
I think so. Thank you.
Very good.
Thanks, Master.
Thank you.